Hey everybody, welcome back to Recordology. This is going to be very fun. You are not going to want to miss this. This is the Project A1, which stands for Automat 1. This is their first automatic turntable, and I'm very excited to review this. This is not the first Project turntable we've reviewed. The Crosley C10 was in fact made by Project. This is their entry into the automatic turntable market, and it looks very promising. So let's go ahead and chop the box. One thing that really stood out to me when I was researching this was the fact that this was not only designed and made by hand in Germany, but that 98% of the parts were also originated from Germany as well. And I think that that's pretty dang cool. All right, let's take a closer look. So if you haven't heard of Project, you must have been living under a rock. These guys are very prolific, very well known. What's cool about them is they do incredible high-end stuff as well as affordable quality products. This is about a $500 turntable. Check out this. This is the quick start guide. Full color. Look at that. I love the illustrations, all that good stuff. We're going to go through all of these steps setting it up. So yeah, this is going to be really exciting. I'm very thankful. I never thought I'd be able to review this. I mean, this is just crazy. So we've got a couple plastic clips for the dust cover, and although they're plastic, they are heavy, noticeably heavy. Back here, we've got a 45 adapter. Here's a 45 adapter. Basic. It says made in Germany on it. It'll get the job done. Obviously, you can upgrade that as needed. The dust cover and the turntable itself are in these clamshell styrofoam pieces, so I want to be careful removing it. Okay, it's wrapped in this protective foam. In fact, I'm going to leave that wrapped for the time being until we're ready for it. And obviously the main turntable, big reveal. Here we go. Awesome. Very cool. All right. So there it is. I think it only comes in black. I don't think that there's a choice of colors, at least at this point. But yeah, that's the unit itself. We've got this piece of cardboard here. Interesting. I guess that kind of just is kind of holds the felt mat down. Felt mat is a very thin felt material. Kind of surprised it doesn't have like a rubber, something a little higher, and that's pretty flimsy. I mean, it'll get the job done, but the good news is you can upgrade it. I mean, you could put an acrylic on there, you can put a rubber one. So I'll definitely be doing that. Okay, let's start with the finish. Yeah, it's got some packing dust on there. Hard to say if that's, no, I guess it kind of looks a little scraped up there a little bit on the edges. It's hard to tell if I got my hands on a review unit, an RMA unit. Not 100% sure there. This is a product sample, one I intend on keeping, but I'm not sure if this is untouched. But it's like a matte finished laminate. This is a solid wood plinth. And part of the design was that they only drilled out the sections that they needed to fit the guts of the automatic parts and left no hollow areas that were unnecessary. So this is solid as much as possible. Also, it's an important thing to note the fact that all of the automatics disengage 100% when the record is playing. They are completely bypassed and disengaged, so it doesn't impede any sort of speed accuracy or anything like that. Let's start with the platter itself. It is a belt-driven turntable, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the belt. It was already attached. This is an aluminum platter that they take great pride in making sure that's perfectly balanced. There's a damping ring inside, and I want to look under the hood here. It looks like we've got a little clip of some sort down there, so I'm going to pop that off, and we're going to peek under the hood. Okay, I'm kind of pissed now because, as you can see, I've scratched the heck out of this platter, which ultimately won't matter, right, once you've got a platter mat on it. But still, that was the most difficult to remove C-clip I have ever come across. And all I have to tell you is this: don't ever have to remove that. Don't try to remove it. It looks simple, but it is not simple. And it took a lot of different tools. I even tried making these hooks out of metal zip ties so that I could sort of wishbone it off. That didn't work. It took an enormous amount of force with, various tools to kind of spread it open. Meanwhile, I scratched the heck out of this. And halfway through, I was like, forget it. I'm just going to put the belt back on, but the belt had fallen down. So this brings up, what do you do if you need to put a belt on? Because that's a fairly normal thing to have to do, right? Because the sub platter is not right under here. I think it's probably back in here. So once that belt is off, either purposely or otherwise, you're screwed. That being said, here is the look underneath. So again, this is an aluminum platter, spray painted black. And a close look there. Be sad for me. This is a very thin piece of aluminum, and the sub platter is just plastic, it looks like. There is a very loose spring right there. So this is very interesting. You can see the wood construction. It's a lot thinner than I thought. This metal inner piece, it's like unlike anything I've ever seen before. I thought that the wood part would be a lot thicker. Maybe it is in certain areas, but you can see the automatics, as it were. And then here is our belt. And again, we've got a sub platter there, plastic. I'm not going to try taking that off. No, thank you. It's kind of, look at the finish on this. It's not as, I mean, it's okay, right? If this didn't say project on it, would we really review it with such admiration? You know what? I wonder about that. So like the paint isn't as dark under where the platter goes. Very, very strange indeed. Okay, well, now we know. And by the way, this circuit board up here, take a look at this. So this circuit board up here is actually where you turn the preamp on and off. The idea is that you take the platter mat off and you can reach the switch through there. But yeah, that's how you would turn it on and off right here. Okay, so the belt does not attach to the platter itself, just around this sub platter, which is why I lost it when I took it off. Which begs the question, what are you going to do when it's time to replace the belt? Granted, that's an unlikely and rare occurrence, and you're probably not going to want to take it to an authorized dealer to do that work, and you may end up causing a mess like I did. So literally, this thing sits passively on top, just like that, and as I know all too well, is held in place with that stupid clip. And then the whole works is covered up with the world's thinnest felt mat. So yeah, all right, let me finish. I'm going to put that clip back on and we'll continue with our review. Okay, let's take a look at the tone arm next. This is a low mass aluminum tone arm. This is a carbon fiber enhanced plastic head shell. It is a tabbed head shell. As you can see, it's not a removable type. We've got a counterbalance. The gimbal, let's feel this, feels really tight. It is plastic, and all of this is, this piece right here is metal. Part of the gimbal is plastic, and then we've got these little plastic tab switches for operation. Here's a closer look at the gimbal. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it around a little bit so you can see the tone arm wires there. Okay. This thing is an absolute dust magnet. Okay, we've got the speed selector switch there. We've got a cueing lift right here, cueing lever, very loose. A piece of rubber on there. That rubber looks better to the naked eye than it does on camera. Scooting down here, another plastic stop-start switch. And the tone arm rest is over here. Even though it looks like it does, there's actually no clip in there. This is sort of a protective shelf from keeping it from falling off in between the platter and the rest. Okay, let's look at the cartridge. Okay, this features the Ortofon OM10, and this whole series, the OM5E, We've reviewed some of the 5s before. This and the others are designed for low mass and ultra low mass tone arms. So they're very lightweight, but they're high quality. This is a diamond elliptical. And so make sure your records are clean whenever you're playing your record with an elliptical stylus, a high quality cantilever, and even the wires in the back connect to split pin connectors, so they're a little easier to get those clips on. That's all really good news. Ortofon makes a very accurate cartridge. Some people arguably say it's a colder sounding cartridge than others, but it's very listenable from what I've read. People like it. Yeah, it's a simple turntable. There's not much to it. In fact, there's nothing on the back. As you can see back here, there is nothing except for a cable coming out of the back. These are what they call a semi-balanced cable. Got high quality connections on there. This, if you wanted to use an external preamp, includes the tab for that. However, because we are using the built-in preamp, we don't need that. And let's look underneath there. Plus, we have this box we never opened. I'm assuming this is a power supply, and I would be correct. And you put on whatever connection is appropriate for your country. Here in the US, we'll be going with the Edison. So I'm going to go ahead and click that on. And yeah, that is our power supply. I want to brace this so it doesn't fall, but there's our power connection there. Just a very simple metal panel. The cable is permanently affixed. We do have 4 feet, and they are a hard plastic disc with hard rubber surrounds, and then there is a little rubber button in the middle. In fact, one of mine fell off. It's just a little adhesive rubber button that goes right in the middle. So the point that actually touches is a kind of a pinpointed area. No adjustment holes, nothing else under here whatsoever. Interesting sticker back here. It does say A1, but it also says audiotuning.com. Not sure what that is. Also, this receptacle for these dust cover clips is very interesting. Just plug it in like that, I suppose. You can see what I was talking about. It's nice that it's matte, but usually matte finishes don't pick up fingerprints. Like this one is just, it's crazy how much it's picking up fingerprints, and it doesn't even come off with like a dry tissue. All right, looks gorgeous with the dust cover. It's got sort of an angled edge here, which is nice. It is clear with a slight blue tint. None of the pictures online show it with the dust cover, which is a shame because I think it looks great with the dust cover. This will be a polycarbonate dust cover. There is little rubber pieces here, so it has a gentle touch point against the plinth. All right, let's go ahead and power it up and do a functionality test on it. Okay, let's see what the tracking force is. Should be about 1.5, I'm guessing. Yep, 1.5. Wow, that's almost exactly 1.5. Good to see. The cueing lift works opposite of what you're used to. So down is pushing forward and up is pulling toward you. And then if we rotate it over the edge of the record from this position, we can get the record platter spinning and check the validity of the speed. Looking right here, you can see that it is nearly perfect at 33 RPM, which is good news. Going up to 45, which is here, same thing. Those lines marching a little bit to the left just means that once the needle drops on the record, introduces a touch of drag, touch of resistance, that it will zero out at a perfect speed. So that is very good to see. I would expect that at this price point, but it's good to validate that it does indeed have essentially perfect speed. Let's look at the platter wobble. There is some platter wobble there, and the first thing people are going to say, well, if you weren't messing around with the platter, I can't neither confirm nor deny that it's because of me, but I wanted to document that it does indeed have a little touch of platter wobble. Okay, now a functionality test. I do have a speaker connected just so I can hear what's happening. We'll do a direct feed sound test in a couple of minutes, but let's go ahead and give it a try. One thing that blows my mind, okay, we do have a speed selector switch, putting it to 33, but how does it know the record size? Usually there's a switch where you pick if it's a 12-inch record, a 10-inch record, 7-inch, whatever, but this one somehow knows without you doing that. The other method, if you don't have a switch, is either some sort of optical sensor, which there can't be one with a felt platter mat, or some sort of switch, some sort of lever that is mechanically pushed down by either a small or large record to tell the system how big the record is. So I have no idea how that is working, but irregardless, let's go ahead and spin this up and see how it works. There's a very loose action on the start and stop. It's a nice, just sort of loose switch. It feels good. It feels right. And here we go. Our first listen of the A1, and it goes right back home. Not sure why it did that. Okay, now we're going to start again, apparently. Now, when you turn these on for the first time, it's fairly common that they get kind of goofy in terms of where they are in their return cycle. So we're not going to hold that against it. So it's possible that because of the platter rotating in storage and in testing, that it got in a goofy place in the return cycle. Okay, let's go ahead and queue up a couple different tracks here and give it a listen. This is a Vinyl Moon release, by the way. The music is a little funky, so I'm going to try and find something that will work well for a test. A lot of it's very sort of dissonant sounds and just odd stuff, so. Okay, just a quick initial listen. It sounds fine. If I press stop, does it bring it back home and shut it off as it should? I'm hoping so. Well, I would say yes, it's doing that. Another question that people have on these is, does it mute during the automatic cycle? So when it's dropping the record, do you hear sort of a pop when it first touches the vinyl? Do you hear a pop as it lifts off the vinyl? Looks good spinning. Absolutely. This is the flip side of that record. Okay, let's go ahead and test out the return. So I'm going to place it in the run out groove. And it should bring the tone arm home and turn the unit off. It is, after all, a fully automatic turntable. And yeah, looks like it did that just fine. I am so fascinated about how it knows how big the record is, because it's not feeling or seeing anything through the platter. I don't know. Like, what happens if we try to put like a 7-inch 33 or a 12-inch 45? Would that work? Let's try it out. Okay, so here we go. This is a 12-inch 45 RPM record. So I'm going to flip it to 45, put it into start. Is it going to think it's a 7-inch record just because it's 45? Or is it going to know somehow? Yeah, look at that. So it's saying, interesting, unimpressive. And the bird goes flying. That's really, and it does the double drop. Isn't that weird? Why is it doing that? That is strange. So it says if it's 45, it must be 7-inch. And if it is 33, it must be 12-inch. That's really disappointing. You could still play the record, no matter what size or speed manually, but that automatic functionality, and they probably did it so they'd have one less button, that minimalist approach, which I'm not a huge fan of. That's a bummer. So I'm guessing then, conversely, if we want to play our Charlie Brown All-Stars storybook, and we put this bad boy down, and this is a 7-inch 33, it's going to attempt to drop its anchor at the outskirt of the platter instead of where the record actually starts. And I'll catch it before it does any damage. Yep, look at that. Yeah, we're not going to let that happen. So that's a bummer. So there's no intelligent mechanism to sense the size of the record. It's merely making a guess. Interesting. It will not let you put it in stop until it's either over that record or the lift is down, it seems like. Speaking of 45, let's go ahead and play a little 45 of Emil's telegraphic transmission device, just so we can test out the 7-inch functionality again. We'll do an auto return test as well with this. Yep. And there it goes. Now, if we hit the end of the run out, I couldn't even drop the needle near the end there. So I'm not sure if it's adjustable where it rejects at that point. Let me see if this will play through to the end. I can't even get it near the end of this particular record. This is a British 45, so it's got the small hole. But let's see if I put this in this vicinity. See, I can't even get to the end of the record. That sucks. That really sucks. Okay, let's try an American 45. Okay, let's put their 45 adapter right there. Listen to that. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a buzz when I touch the spindle. Okay, and placing a 7-inch 45. We got this switch to 45 speed, and I'm sure it'll queue up to the beginning okay. My question is, will it hit the run out in the right spot, or will it, reject early? I'm guessing it'll work on this. So if I queue this up to the run out, does it handle this size better? No, it doesn't let you get towards the run out. So it seems like that reject point is not set properly. Let me try and put it right near the end of the song. Okay, so it hits the run out. Okay, so it actually does work okay on the American 45s. It played to the end, it hit the run out, and then it came back. Watch how quick this pulls back the tone arm. That's a pretty quick return. Final thoughts. I'm honestly a bit unimpressed with this. For $500, I would expect it to have flawless operation in terms of, playing all sizes and speeds of records, completely automatic. Sound quality was fine. The cartridge they chose is good. The build quality is adequate. It does not seem like a premium turntable in my hands. It feels heavy. But, the little fit and finish stuff isn't the best. The way the paint is uneven under the platter, the way it's so difficult to get to the belt, the lack of, full controls, and a lack of branding. I know that may sound silly, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. So for $500, I feel like this may be overpriced. I think this may be more of a $150 to $250 level of turntable for what you get. All right, my friends, and that's going to do it for today. Mostly, I just want to say a huge thank you to you for joining us today. That's going to do it for today. We'll be back with another one tomorrow. Happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.